up high like there's something there. But I'm just searching for the unknown.
Usually it's louder. Waha! What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Big Bang Theory After Show here at theStream.tv. Oh my God, the engagement ring truth comes out. Holy crap! I can't. It happened. So, first of all, here to talk about that, my co-hosts Lexi Ciccone and Vivian Adobe in for Tia tonight. I'm Adam Kruger, guys. What's up? How are you? Tia's actually in Manchester, so before we get started with anything, she had a little message for you guys. So we're just going to cut to that real quick. So check it out. Here's Tia. All the way in Manchester.
Hey nerds and nerdettes, sorry I can't be with you this week, but I am in Manchester, England at the moment. I'm sure the episode was amazing, and I hope you enjoyed the after show with Adam, Lexi, and Vivian. I will be back with you next week, but until then, here's a special little treat. Our whole universe was in a hot, dense state, but nearly 14 billion years ago, expansion started. Wait, the Earth began to cool, the autotrophs began to join, Neanderthals developed tools, we built the wall, we built the pyramids, math, science, history, unraveling the mystery that all started with a big bang bang.
I love it, Tia. We love you. I hope you're watching. I know you're in Manchester.
Right, I hope you're not freezing.
Yeah. She's been talking about doing that intro for a while now, and so I'm glad that we finally got to see it. I love it. Okay, guys, on to the episode. This was insane. We start. Okay, first.
There's so much.
I know there's so much. So Sheldon finally brings out the ring, but let's talk about how we got to that. We start with obviously Wil Wheaton shows up with Adam Nimoy, the late and great Leonard Nimoy's son, who plays himself on the episode. He's doing a Spockumentary, which was originally Leonard's joke that Sheldon took and then regretted later, and they come to do this documentary, and everything goes sideways. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, the documentary, first of all, Sheldon's obviously the perfect subject for that because he is Spock in his own sense. But it took, I mean, you know what I was actually most interested in? Not most interested in, but remember when he first tried doing Fun with Flags and he was so awkward talking on camera? This is a side note, but he was so good at communicating with the interview. I just found it like, I don't know, a very long distance from what he used to be his first episodes.
The same thing.
Yeah,
the same thing.
But that's just a side note. But let's get into the actual documentary.
Yeah. No, so I thought, okay, so first of all, yes, I just to address that point real quick, I thought it was very cool because with Fun with Flags, he's kind of talking about like a pet project of his, but with talking about Spock, that's like, I mean, you know, rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock, you know what I mean? Everything that Sheldon does, he's modeled his life after Mr. Spock because he's been trying to avoid emotions his entire life. And so to actually be able to do a documentary about him, this is his hero. This is like who he wants to be. He's trying to be this fictional character. So when you see him talking about it, of course, it's more than just, it's like a visceral like passion that it's on that, you know, soul level. So I thought that was very cool too.
I think the key word there that you mentioned is passion, because I think that's what made him have that confidence when he was talking and, you know, really connecting with Spock Spock in the Spockumentary, because it was something that he'd really been involved with his whole life, and having, you know, Penny there and Leonard there to support him and kind of egg him on at the same time, it just kind of added to the whole sense of how big this moment was for him and why he even called up Amy in the first place saying, you know, I know we're not together, but you should totally come watch my interview because it's huge.
Yeah, that was a big thing that he called Amy to watch it.
Yeah, well, he's, you know, obviously he's trying to put her out of his mind, but he can't. And so he's saying he's over it and he's past it, but of course we see him explode and just totally melt down and lose it over this disaster that happened. So I mean, we're gonna obviously get to that. So obviously during the interview, Adam wants to know if Sheldon has any Spock memorabilia, and he's telling him all about it. And he's like, oh yeah, wait, let me get you my most prized one. And he goes to the wall safe that nobody knew existed.
I love this, by the way. I just want to go through my apartment now and create random safes just to mess with my roommate's head.
Oh God, hopefully you're not gonna watch the couch though. Like, I'm joking.
I think that's a little bit too far for my taste.
Well, so then of course Leonard also just finds out about the security camera, the floor safe, the wall safe, and what precipitated that. So, but then he pulls out his safety deposit box, or his little safe box, and that moment when he pulls the ring out.
I mean, Penny just loses it. She
Yeah.
is so surprised. I think everyone obviously would be surprised in that moment that Sheldon had an engagement ring.
Right.
And Sheldon, he didn't like take it out like he was afraid of how they're going to react. It was interesting because it was such a natural, like, talking point. Oh, here's my napkin, here's my will, here's my engagement ring I was going to get to my girl. Like, it was just, it wasn't initially, it was like, oh, it's like any other thing. And then once once Penny kind of kept giving him, like, you know, little nudges about it, that's when his emotions started coming out. But initially, I was like, okay, he said that flawlessly.
Yeah,
Right.
it was totally nonchalant. He
Yeah.
there was no emotion. He was able to kind of get around the emotions of the situation in that moment. But then when Penny egged him on, he loses it. And to me, honestly, that was my favorite moments in the episode were Sheldon's emotions, because you're so used to seeing this Sheldon bot.
Right.
And you know, we actually, like, this story arc is really showing his emotions, which is a really awesome thing, I think.
Yeah, and the character development we've seen over the past, just this season alone, I feel like Sheldon has grown so much, and as an audience, we've been able to enjoy the growth, because I wouldn't have expected this a couple seasons ago.
No.
Never.
For the engagement at all, the idea that he would get Amy a ring, or even that he would be able to show his emotions, not just privately, but also to, you know, everyone in that room.
And
Yeah.
to that point, even when he's getting the napkin, he says, for my very thoughtful friend, Penny. And that, remember, Sheldon, like, he would never compliment people. He's grown to be able to do that. And
Right.
the fact that he just, my very thoughtful friend, Penny, that stuck with me.
That's a very good point. You know, I kind of glossed over that, but now that you're mentioning it, I'm totally on that with you. I think that was, you know, a brilliant moment. It's showing his evolution. I think that the writers are doing a really good job. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you know, we all read the blogs, we all read the articles, and you know, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, the writers are lazy, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think so. I think they're really developing these characters. They're growing up. And so I think the people who are, and because we're going to touch on that, there's a little, there's a Reddit question that I'm going to bring in a little bit later, and we'll discuss it. But I think that, you know, people get upset because we're moving into a direction where everybody's growing up. But, you know, that's the whole thing. The only constant in life is change. And so if the characters don't evolve, what do you have, really?
And then it gets boring if they're the same way all through all the seasons. We're growing up as an audience too, and seeing them get awards and being, you know, celebrated for the work that they're doing. They need to continue to be challenged, otherwise we're going to get bored.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Very quickly, guys, you know, be sure to tweet at us, join the conversation using the hashtag BigBangAS, and also join in on the live YouTube chat, because we're going to be addressing that, and we're going to bring up some of your questions, comments, theories, anything like that in just a little while. We're going to come up with that in probably, I want to say, 5 to 10 minutes. But right now, I want to just kind of move on and talk about, so Sheldon melts down about the whole Amy situation, and then he and Leonard and Penny are kind of talking about it. And then, of course, you know, Adam's excited because the documentary is going to be amazing, because Sheldon just goes berserk almost.
Right.
And then he decides...
Such a good friend.
Right? And then he decides
Or
that he's...
Will's
Yeah,
excited.
well, they're all excited because it's, you know,
Yeah.
Sheldon on camera with this disaster. But then he decides that the only solution is to go and propose to Amy, which, let's talk about that for a second, because on the one hand, I'm going, okay, yeah, that makes sense. He's got the ring and he needs to kind of fix this. But on the other hand, it's Sheldon misplaced. They've been broken up now for, you know, a few weeks, and she's already dating other people, which he kind of knows about, but doesn't really.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about his decision to just go and propose instead of just go, hey, listen, this is what was going to be. You know.
I think he's just not obviously used to this emotion. He just wants to get rid of it. And in his mind, that's the final decision. If she says yes, he could be happy. If she says no, he'll have to just suck it up. And to him, he obviously did not think through how he actually should go about doing it. He just wants that to end. He wants the pain to end. And that's his way of doing it.
Totally.
And we also have to remember, this is his big relationship in life. So he doesn't necessarily think about what happens after a breakup and what other people might be going through, especially Amy, because she was so heartbroken when making her own decision and not having this context that we all had. So it's hard for him, but I kind of applauded him that he stood up to the plate. He decided that, you know, this is someone who I care about, and I just need her to know that this is what I had in mind. I did see a future for us.
And then to take it even further, when he does approach Amy, and of course, as we see, she is with David, who we can all agree that was.
Dave.
Dave. it is interesting how.
I don't like Dave.
I know we'll get into the very heartbroken moment that we all experienced, but just to fast forward and then get back to that, the way he always supposed to talk about it now.
Let's just go
yeah,
there.
she
Let's just go
kisses Dave.
Yep.
And he sees it, and I think all our hearts broke.
Well, you could see the moment where his heart just literally shatters into a million pieces. Like you could see he stops, and then Stephen Merchant is the actor playing Dave. He leans in and kisses Amy, and you just see like Amy happy and Sheldon just.
Right. And shout out to Jim Parsons, because that was some great acting when you can only use your eyes to convey a whole bunch of emotions, and we all know exactly what the feeling is.
Yeah.
That was great.
And what also resonated with me was after he saw it, he just walked away. Like, I didn't know how Sheldon was going to react to that, to be honest, if he was going to do something rash or be like, what are you doing with my girlfriend? Because in the past, after the breakup, we've kind of seen him do immature tactics with the bra and, you know, just a different thing. So I kind of was like, is he going to go up to that and you know, just kind of ruin the moment? But he didn't. He walked away like, I guess he only could.
I feel like he kind of ran out of outbursts after a while. He was just kind of, you know, so ready for his decision and to talk to Amy. And when he saw that the moment was not going to happen, he just kind of gave up and, you know, went back into his recluse, cutting off emotions. You know,
it's another growth
comfort
step.
zone.
Absolutely, it shows more growth.
Yeah, and then of course, I mean, so here's the thing. I think Sheldon kind of sees it, and he's like, it's growth. He's walking away, but I think it's also he's just defeated.
Yeah.
He's done. It's over. So he's realizing she's moved on. I've got to move on too. And so he goes home and he seeks solace in the one place he knows how, which is Star Trek and Spock. But I think he comes to an epiphany and realizes that, you know, there's no way to get around emotions.
And he hates Spock now.
So
Which is so
He
sad.
doesn't hate Spock,
he's
but
just over it.
he's like, you're lying, you can't act that way, and like that's not, you can't just hold back your emotions. Like he's coming to the realization that Spock is a fictional character, and he can't be a fictional character. He has to be a real human with emotions.
Yes, exactly. So Sheldon's heartbroken. We've got heartbreak. Let's move on to topic 2, our sub story, the B line, I guess, which is of course breaking down walls with Howard and Bernadette. You know, Bernie obviously brings up that she wants to renovate and change the look of this house that you know, Howard grew up in, which, to be honest, I think really needs an update. It looks like
definitely.
It looks like it's from the 50s.
It's long overdue.
Yeah, totally. But he's, you know, he tries to guilt her into not changing anything because obviously Howard is still a mama's boy and he doesn't want to let go. And of course, Bernie then throws out the compromise, one room like you do. And so marriage is always compromised. Let's talk about this moment for a second where Howard doesn't want to let go, but Bernadette is obviously like done with the way the place looks.
So Howard obviously has an emotional attachment, clearly, to his house. He doesn't want anything to change. And the saddest moment is when he's making his bologna sandwich. And you could tell Bernadette is just over the pity trip. When he goes, I'm making the bologna sandwich that my mother used to make before she died, but after my dad left me. And she's like, okay. Like, she's done. She just wants it to change. She's like, move on. Let's do this. So the emotional attachment, I understand, but it's just funny how Bernadette is a very strong personality, and she kind of wears the pants, obviously.
Totally.
And she was just ready to be like, let's go. Morning time over, let's go.
Yeah.
And she kind of has to because Howard is kind of lazy, like really lazy around the house. And so the fact that she has to keep pushing him, I would, you know, be forceful at that point too because she's been living in this house for so long and you know, you have to make a house a home. And especially with them possibly having a future and kids, I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Well, so
you know.
we'll get to the kids thing in half a second, but first I want to talk about how you know, Bernadette brings her dad in to do the renovations for free, and then of course Howard enlists Raj to help him. And this was some of my my favorite interactions on the show tonight was the interactions between Howard and Raj. So you know, he wants to keep the status quo, and basically Raj fails. Because he's like, well, no, that wall, you know, he just gives up after one little thing.
He agrees with the father.
Yeah, exactly.
In-law, father-in-law, yeah.
And then Howard says, when is your visa up? You know, like there's a few of those. And so then they go into the crawl space, and Bernadette's dad asks Howard about what, you know, when they're gonna have kids and why he doesn't want to have kids. And it comes out that Bernadette tells her dad that Howard doesn't want kids when in fact it's the reverse.
Right.
And so they hear it through the floor, and then Bernadette does her...
My favorite moment of the episode. She starts stomping really quickly and loudly and screaming, earthquake! Aftershock.
The aftershock was my favorite. When they kept talking, and she's like, "Oh no, what else can I do?"
It was so funny because she was just trying to quiet and end the conversation.
Yeah. So that was great. And then the father comes up, realizes that Bernadette was one without kids. They have that whole discussion.
Yes, they come clean.
And yeah, and then, you know, I was pleasantly surprised at the outcome of that. I mean, Bernadette, she was definitely being honest when she said she'll think about it.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, before we even get to that point, though, we also had that moment where Raj basically, you know, calls Howard out in front of Bernadette, and he's like, listen, you're like, not only are you like her father, but you're also like her child.
Oh, yeah.
And then, right, and then this is what touches on the nerve for Bernadette, which makes her feel why she doesn't want to have kids with him, because, you know, she knows that he's not going to do anything, and then, of course, you know, Howard looks at him and he's like, why are you still here? And that was a great moment also, but I love the moment where Howard kind of reassures Bernadette that he's going to be a great dad.
Mm-hmm. And it's clearly Bernadette's childhood upbringing that's making her think that Howard's not going to do anything because of her father who didn't do anything. So she's reflecting her future based on her upbringing. So, you know, Howard's not like that, and he definitely reassured her.
Yeah,
so
and we'll see what happens. I don't know if we're going to see children on the show. Guys, tell us what you think. Again, tweet at us using the hashtag BigBangAS, or you can hit the live chat right now. You know, we're about to go to commercial, but first, I know that we wanted to touch on our favorite moments. Lexi, you did not touch on yours. What was your favorite moment of the episode?
So, real quick, I liked, well, I kind of actually liked when, the napkin one. So when he does get the napkin that, of course, Penny gave him, and the guy filming, I should be more nerdy, please remind me of the name of
Adam Nimoy.
Adam Nimoy. Yes. He's like our super nerd.
Well, his name is the same as mine, so
that's true.
helps.
So Adam Nimoy, who of course is the real son of the character Spock, he's, you know, in his mind 100% DNA, but to Sheldon he's only 50%. So when he brings a napkin as his most treasured possession, and they're like, well, you have 100% here. He's like, no, you're 50% because of your mother. He's like, your napkins I just throw out.
Right.
And it was just
classic Sheldon.
Yeah, it was classic. I love that moment.
Yeah. So
awesome.
funny.
And yours was the earthquake, and then of course, I loved, you know, just Sheldon's emotions and his reacting to all the things that are going on. Guys, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. While we're doing that, please, you know, send us your theories, your questions, your comments, anything that you want to maybe discuss. We'll probably feature you on the show, or possibly feature you on the show. Tweet at us using hashtag BigBangAS, or hit the live YouTube chat, and we're gonna do a Reddit question right when we come back, followed by our YouTube and Twitter shout out. So we'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
Great.
In case you missed it live.
In case you missed it live.
In case you missed it live.
In case you missed it live, this is for you.
I love it. That was freaking love.
Oh my God.
I didn't see any of this coming. Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah?
I was like,
woo, woo. How did you get here? No.
Like, kill him. Kill him. Definitely kill him. We're cool. Shade. Shade left and right, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies, let's put your 2 cents in it.
Rubbed me the wrong way and the right way.
But you were like, well, we want to know what's gonna happen.
That was cute.
We just want to say we love you all. Thank you so much for your support. You are all seriously the best in the world.
Another beautiful summer at theStream.tv, y'all.
Here we go, guys.
Thank you for being here. Peace out.
Bye, guys.
And we're back, guys. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. First thing I want to do is just check out this Reddit question that came up that I pulled from last week's episode, and so we're just going to talk about this. This is from Redditor Salamonk1. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I hope I am. And he or she says, I feel like the show has lost its heart. Everyone has become mean on the show, except maybe Stuart. That last episode when everyone is making fun of people on the dating app made me cringe. It wasn't even mean in a funny way. They were just mocking others. Also, what happened to science being at the center of the storylines and dialogues. I loved when they would reference scientific theories and apply them to their living situations. Now it's just, we need to buy helium. I know I'm ranting, but it's always sad when a show like you like loses what made you like it in the first place. Guys, let's discuss that. Do you think that the show has lost something? Do you feel like people were just being mean? Do you think that it was just a one-off? What do we feel about it?
I think it's what Vivian touched on earlier, the growth aspect and how it is character development and they're growing, and I think that's what we're seeing and what people might be interpreting as a fault in the writers, but I don't think it is. I think it's based on growth.
But specifically more with the when they remember last week when they were making fun of the Tinder app, they were making fun of the people. That's
the me. Oh, they're talking about like the bullying moments.
Yeah, no. They're talking about when they were making fun of the people on Tinder, the Tinder app.
That, I mean, it was a little mean, obviously, but I don't know. I have to take it with a grain of salt. I don't really know what I think about that. What's your opinion?
Well, I think they've always been a little bit snarky. You know, it's just now that they're so focused on love and they've made room for love, all the characters, we've seen them experience love, which we wouldn't have anticipated the first season. They could barely talk to Penny for a full sentence, let alone find mates. So I could see how people think that the conversation has moved away from science, but we're getting more depth from all of the characters, so I don't think it's necessarily a loss. The science is always going to be there because that's their occupation. Yeah. They're neuro everything.
Neuro everything. My dream job.
I want to say that I agree with both of you. I don't think that it's a departure. I mean, I think it's an evolution as well. I think that, you know, these are guys who've been made fun of in school, possibly a lot growing up by the cool kids. And now that they're kind of evolving to the point where they have relationships and they're becoming more comfortable within themselves. So they're able to kind of poke fun at others, which I don't think it's right, but I think that it's an accurate thing of what happens when you grow to that point. So I don't think the show has lost its heart. I think it's just evolving. That's my answer to that question. Lexi, why don't we hit some YouTube shout outs?
Absolutely.
Let's do the live chat.
So the YouTube live chat has been very active. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll do some great shout outs. We have Call a Bro Gamers. Thank you so much. Irisha Shakma, I hope I'm saying that right. And then we have a lot of people from out of the country. I love this. So Marcos Antonio from Brazil, thank you. We have Brenda Shanae from Peru, very nice. Our girl Jayla, she watches every week, and she's not tonight because of a report, but she's still making sure to chat us. But some questions. So Mira Domains, he's very active today, and thank you so much because you do bring up some really great points. One that I think we should discuss. He said, when will we get to see Amy's reaction to the engagement ring? I would assume Penny will tell her. I would like to bring this up because there are two options. Either Penny's going to tell her or she's going to see it in the Spockumentary. What do you think is going to come first? Oh,
Penny will not be able to hold this until the Spockumentary comes out. You could tell from her outbursts, you know, during the show that she's ready to let it be known. And I think it'll be really funny to see how she approaches Amy and lets her know that, hey, you know, there was a ring for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you agree with that?
I think it's going to come out.
And then,
well, it has to.
Yeah, that's also CN Awesome too. He's just wondering what will happen when the Spockumentary does come out. So thank you also for tuning in. But everyone else, we have MJ is the bomb. I love it. Michael Jackson fan up there. There we go. Woohoo.
Could be Michael Jordan.
And she wants to, you know, continue tuning in. Could be Michael Jordan. I just always assume MJ. I'm sorry. I mean, Michael Jackson. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. Retro Fan Films, thank you as well. And that's all for YouTube, rather. We'll go to Twitter.
Twitter shout-outs now with Vivian.
Yes, we had some really good reactions this episode. The first one I have up here is from Eddie Kitty. And it says, ouch, this episode just hurt. But hey, Howard up, baby? Yay or nay? I think yes. I think yes, too. Baby. So keeping fingers crossed.
To the baby?
Yes.
I hope yay.
But I feel like they should end. I feel like I don't think they're gonna bring babies on the show, but I feel like they should end the season, end the series. Like the last episode is, and by the way, we're having a baby. End of series. Like that's what I think.
I think that would be good too. But what do you guys think about the ouch? Did you feel the pain?
Oh, God,
Sheldon's heartbreak?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Absolutely.
Like you said, the look on his face, especially in his eyes, was incredibly good acting, obviously. But since he is a character and we relate to them as a character, his heart broke. Sheldon, his heart broke. It was very sad.
Let's do two more.
Okay,
two more Twitter.
So
two more tweets.
Is this Spockumentary real? The way Will was acting, I could kind of go along with this from my soaps are on.
I love it. I love it.
It's a clever name. Is this Spockumentary real? Because I'd be interested in watching it. Do you guys think they would do an episode or something?
That would be very cool if they did.
I think they have to somehow bring that up. I mean, they could just skip over it, but I feel like they have to because they're gonna it's gonna go viral or something. You know how?
Right.
It was like,
if they're doing, if it's real.
If it's real, you think Wil is messing with Sheldon?
Oh no! On the show,
Oh.
sure. But is it real in real life?
Oh, no,
I think
yeah, I
like
don't
on
think
the
it's real in
show.
real life.
Oh,
Yeah, on the show.
Oh, for sure, it's real on the show.
Yeah,
for sure. Is it gonna happen in real life?
That'd be pretty funny.
Who knows?
No, definitely, yeah, real.
Okay, and the last one is from Not Rabbit Roger, and it says, okay, I love this Leonard Nimoy tribute episode, and I think this was a really good tribute to him as well.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Agreed. Guys, let us know your thoughts. Tweet at us using the hashtag BigBangAS. Hit us on YouTube. You can tweet at all of us all week long, and maybe we'll feature you on the show. I want to do a quick shout out to my boy Joe Steiger. I think it's Steiger. Quick little, very funny story, amazing story. I just posted on. I retweeted his story on Twitter, and Simon Helberg, who plays Howard on the show, actually made it possible for him to come and visit the set and see a taping. So, awesome. Simon, if you're watching, you're a mensch, my man, and your wife too. I know that the two of you made it possible, so you made a very happy fan in Joe. Joe, what's up? Hope we'll see you back next week. Guys, we hope we see you all back next week. Thanks for tuning in. We're now on Thursdays every week, same time as always. From all of us here, we'll see you next time.
Should we do this thing?
Should we do? Let's do the Spock thing. Double Spock.
For more of the Big Bang After Show,
click that button and subscribe to
theStream.tv.